to know what are the main 8 branches of Ayurveda. And they're quite similar to the main branches of Western medicine these days. Ashtanga Ayurveda, so we have internal medicine or Kaya Chikitsa, which is mainly prevention, etiology, prognosis and management of disease. And we have surgery or Shalya Tantra, which is various surgeries that are described. The first plastic surgery was described in Sushruta Samkhya. Then we have ear, nose and throat and eye diseases, or Shalakya Tantra, and that's the Ayurvedic branch of ophthalmology and pronounce these Latin names. That stuff. Get the doctor to say that. It's basically concerned with diseases of the eye and head. Then we've got pediatrics. Again, dealing with prenatal and postnatal baby care, with the care of the mother before conception, during pregnancy, and after pregnancy. Ayurveda describes various methods of conceiving a child of the desired sex, intelligence and constitution, all sorts of stuff like that. Various diseases of children and treatment come under this branch. Then we've got toxicology, or Agada Tantra. It deals with the toxins of the vegetables, mineral and animal kingdom, concept of air and water pollution, how they're likely to arise in particular times and places. It's quite interesting. It actually goes into a lot about diseases that are going to happen in the future and sorts of things like that, which actually have prevailed. Then we have psychiatry, or Bhuta Vidya, and Ayurveda is equally concerned with mental disease and their treatments. So treatment methods include not only diet and herbs, but also yogic methods for improving condition of the mind. And there's tons of material for research on this branch. I threw one book in there called Ayurveda and the Mind from David Frawley. If you're interested in Ayurvedic psychology, it's huge. And then the science of rejuvenation, or Rasayana. And this therapy is used to prevent diseases and for promotion of prolongation and healthy life. As mentioned earlier, Panchakarma, which is really what we're studying here, fits under Rasayana, and it's essential for prerequisite for Rasayana, or before you do rejuvenation. And the code of right conduct of life has also to be observed as part of the rejuvenation process. And then finally, there's a science of aphrodisiacs, or Vajikarana. Branch deals mainly with increasing sexual vitality and efficiency for achieving health and intelligent progeny. Therapy of Rasayana and Vajikarana are closely interrelated, so Vajikarana medicines also act as rejuvenative. So those are the main branches of Ayurveda. And again, I'll give you guys those notes. So we'll skip over this historical review, and I'll let you guys read that on your own and give you a big test on it. And there's just some information about the mythology of the creation of the origin of Ayurveda. I'll let you guys read that on your own. You can learn about Dhanvantari and how the knowledge was passed down and all that sort of thing. That's all there. And then there's a little article from Dr. Vasant Lad, who has the Ayurvedic Institute in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's probably the first Ayurvedic university to be implemented in the West, which is just dedicated to Ayurvedic teachings. So he goes into more details about the main texts of Ayurveda. Okay, and then finally we're at the creation of the universe according to various philosophies. So I'm going to skip the first part here, and we're going to talk about Samkhya philosophy. So where you see Samkhya begins here. Alright, we went over this a little bit before. Who was confused when I talked about it in the introduction class? Was it a little bit much? Not too much? Okay.
Where did it say Samkhya philosophy?
So it says in Tantra these are now separate. All remaining tattvas are pure. Samkhya begins here, saying Purusha and Prakriti is eternally separate. Okay, so here we're simply working with, if you look at the back of that page, you got a nice little diagram. I don't want to get too much into mythology and philosophy. I want to get a little bit more concrete into things that we can actually grasp, so I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but if you have any questions, just let me know. Basically, the idea is that from yin and yang, or Purusha and Prakriti, or the female and male elements, or a positive and negative electrons, something happened to create this big bang or creation or whatever it was, and no one really knows. And even Samkhya philosophy basically just says that these 3 main gunas, sattva guna, tamas guna, and rajas guna, which we're going to go into a little bit more when we talk about the Ayurvedic psychology, as well as the mental states, or the mental doshas. That basically, sattva, rajas, and tamas Sattva is a state of purity, so pure light, of pure knowledge, of just stable pureness. It's kind of that feeling that you get right after meditation, or where there's nothing in your mind and it's just light. Whereas tamas is more related to inertia, physical, like material solidity, and rajas has more to do with movement or dynamism or some sort of something happening, something moving, something being created. And these are the three basic main energies or forces in the universe according to Samkhya philosophy. That's to say that sattva, or that eternal light, needs to be present as the observer. Rajas is necessary for creation and movement, and tamas is necessary for manifestation of the physical. And what Samkhya philosophy says is that these three, when completely in balance, well, there's no creation, there's nothing. But if one of them goes out of balance, or one of these elements or aspects decides to, or doesn't want to be in balance anymore, gets moody or something like that, Vedic mythology puts a little bit of a spin on it, and then associates them with deities or human ideals, and says that Rajas got angry and then Tamas got depressed, and so they started to bug Prakriti to start manifesting a physical world for them to play with. But you can look at it that way. That's an interesting way to look at it. But you don't have to look from an idolic sort of way. One way or another, something happened, and creation manifested, and from there, this idea of asmita or buddhi came. Now, this is what we call as the cosmic order or cosmic intelligence. It's like that universal field that everyone is somehow subconsciously aware of, whether or not we admit to it. Or it's also sometimes called as Mahat. That's what I have it on my diagram here. And it's basically that, the cosmic order, cosmic intelligence that's all around, that controls the cycles of the universe, controls the cycles of the planets and the seasons and all that sort of thing. From there, because the universe is eternal and ever expanding and ever moving, basically there became a need for separation or individuality, of some sort of identification of self. And that's where comes in the concept of ahamkar. So we talk about, as soon as the gunas lose their equilibrium, the creation latent within Prakriti begins to manifest. The Mahat, or cosmic mind, is created. And then Purusha, or pure consciousness principle, embeds into Prakriti, creating the confusion of the seer with the seen. This is all a little esoterical, so I'm just keep it at that and basically say that this is where ego comes in. This is where the concept that we are separate, or that one consciousness is separate from the eternal consciousness, comes in. And that's where there needs to be definition for that. If I'm separate, I need to know why I'm separate. How am I separate? How am I physically separate? How am I mentally separate? Why, what looks separate, what feels separate, what's different. And then these three forces come into play again, sattva, rajas, and tamas, where we have all of the different aspects of these energies and how they manifest into physical interpretations. So rajas and tamas mainly work together to create the different elements and the different senses that interpret the elements. So basically you've got our five main elements: earth, air, fire, water, and space. We're going to go into those a little bit in more detail. And then we have all of the main sense organs which interpret those elements: sound, touch, sight, taste, and smell. Okay? And then of course, in order to be able to interpret those elements, we need to have sense faculties. So the organs of cognition, the ears, eyes, nose, tongue, and skin. And then the five motor organs, or the organs of action: the mouth, hands, feet, reproductive organs, and excretory organs. And then also the mind, which is both an organ of action and cognition.